Okay, let's deal with homework. Let me spend a little bit of time. Today we don't have a lot of material to cover, so no rush. Folks, if you don't mind, please turn on your camera. If you haven't. I'm trying to make a class environment. Thank you. Okay. Share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen about the algebra problems?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have 1 and 2 and 5 stood out as a problem. Let's look at 1. Okay. Refresh your memory. We have a 9 and 99 until 40 terms. And what's the 10th digit? Anyone wants to talk this through?
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Zoom in.
Yeah, the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, you wanna go for it?
Yeah. So basically it would be the 10th digit would just, well, we could do for the 1's digit plus the 10's digit, which is 360, 40 times 9, plus 3600, which is 40 times 90. But then since the first 9 doesn't have a 9 in the 10's digit, you subtract 90 from the 3600 and you get 3510. You add them together, the 10th digit is 7. So the 10th digit of the sum of these are 7.
I'm a little bit lost. So you're saying how many nines you have?
49s for the 1's and 49 and only 39 90s.
Okay, start your step 1 is what?
40 times 9,
Equals
360.
okay. And
then it's 39 times 90. It is 3510. Then you add them. And then the 10th digit is 7.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, but if you just do 39 times 99 and we only care about the tens, right? Here. So we have 39 times 99. Right. So because the first one doesn't have this tens, so the 39 times 99 equals what? Basically
3861.
38
861.
61. Okay. Now you just need to add the 9 to the unit digit, right? So you add a 9, this becomes 0, and this becomes 7, right? You don't care about the rest. So that's 7. But What you said is okay, Sarah. Questions? Okay. Okay, let's move on to the second problem.
Yeah. Could I do that?
Yes.
So what we know is that f of 3 is equal to 4 and f of 1 is equal to 0. So it's like you just add them and then you see like, okay, what's the closest? Like what's the closest to f of 1 and f of 3? You say, okay, so I can compute f of 1 is equal to 0, right? So just write 0 is equal to f of 2 plus 3. So that means that wait, 0 is equal to f of 2 plus 4. I mean, sorry. So f of 2 must be negative 4, and then now we see that negative.
Wait, F0?
No, I mean, f of 1 is equal to 0. So
Okay. F1, okay, 0. Okay.
we want to
Continue.
find f of 2
Mhm.
because f of 2 is equal to f of 3 plus f of 4, and then f of 4 is what we need to find. So we get 0 is equal to f of 2 plus 4. Then we just solve and see that f of 2 is equal to negative 4. So
Mhm.
then we get negative 4 is equal to negative 4 is equal to 4 plus f of wait a sec, f of 4, and then we just get that it's 8. I mean
Yeah.
negative.
Here, let's write a few steps. 0 equals F1. Well, actually, no, F2, right? F2 plus 4. So from here, F2 equals negative 4, right? And because of that, you know, at negative 4, which is F2, equals F3, which is 4, plus F4. And this is 4. So F4 plus 4 equals negative 4. So F4 is negative 8. Thank you. And just to make sure this is a niche, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any question? Okay, 1 to 5. Okay, 5.
Can I explain the question?
Who is speaking?
Avanish, group 5.
Okay, go ahead, Avanish.
So if you subtract these equations, you can get that you can get a minus c equals 74. And
Do you want to write down? Do you want to annotate so we can see it?
I can't annotate right now.
Oh, okay. Let me try to do it. So which one minus which one?
A plus 3b plus 5c. Oh no, the first equation minus the second.
Okay, so you get
You get minus b minus 2c, which is also b plus 2c equals negative 22.
okay. So let's do this.
That's easier.
Okay, and then
And if you minus the second equation from the first equation, you can get a minus c is 70.
minus second equation or the third equation you just had?
Sorry, I'm having issues.
Okay. Yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, sorry, I got it. Yeah. So if you multiply two into the second equation and 3 into the first equation, you can remove the b, and that equals. So basically, that's 3a, so 2a plus 6b, and 10c equals 16.
Okay, just tell me which one minus which one. This one times
So-
3 minus this one times 2? Or vice
Yeah.
versa? Okay,
No, vice versa. Yeah. So the first equation minus the second equation. And that gives you a minus c equals 74.
minus c equals
74.
74. Perfect.
And if you add these equations together, that is a plus b plus 2c minus c, which is plus c. So, and then you add the negative 22 and 74 together, which is 52.
If you add this one and the one we just have, and you get a plus b plus c, and 74 minus
Equals-
22.
yeah,
So 52. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Avanish. Any question?
I think there's also a different way to solve this one.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Yeah. You want to share yours?
Yeah, so what I did was I subtracted the first equation from the second equation, and I got b plus 2c equals negative 22.
That's the same as what he gave you. Mhm.
And then I subtracted the third equation from the first equation, and I got b plus 2c equals, let's make a plus b plus c x. And if I subtract the third equation from the first equation, we get b
You
plus
get
2c.
exactly a plus b plus c, right?
Yeah, equals 30 minus x.
Yeah. So if you
And-
just to repeat, so if you just subtract this equation from the first equation, you will get a, and 2b minus b is plus b, and 3c minus 2c is plus c. You get exact what we need, and that is 30 minus negative 22. That's 52, right? So this is slightly faster. That's yeah, that I would definitely recommend this one. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, let's move on. Next one is 103. 103. Okay. Yeah, this one is a little bit tricky. Why do I say it's tricky? Is because it tests your logic. I think I lost my screen. Okay. What is the sum of all possible integers that satisfy the condition that if n is odd, then n is a multiple of 5? So what is the number that satisfies this condition? Nishka, are you raising hand to talk about this?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so for this equation, I listed out the possible values for n. Now it says that to satisfy the condition that if n is odd, so if n is like 1, 3, 5, and on, then it has to be a multiple of 5. That means from all the odd numbers, the multiples are 5, 10, 15, and 20. And then you add up all the other even numbers to those numbers, and then you get your final answer, which is 130.
Mhm. Exactly. So here said, and if n is odd, then n is a multiple of 5, but it doesn't say what if n is even. So as long as n is even, we don't have any requirement for it. So all the even number less than 20, less or equal than 20, is valid number for this problem. I think that's the key part. And the only odd number we allow for this problem would be 5 and 15. So 5, 15 plus all the even number less than 20 would be the answer. So add them up is 130. So I think the trick part is this if n is odd type of thing. So if you don't think carefully about this logic, you might omit all the even numbers by putting 5 and 15 as the only possible answer. So yeah, so what Nishk said is correct. Thank you. Let's move on to 105. 105. How many ordered triples of non-negative integers exist for a plus b plus c equals 4? All right. I see Daniel raising a hand. Daniel, you want to talk about this?
Can I draw on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So first I just made each value in 4 like 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, where there's 4 ones, so I just drew 4 stars. And a plus b plus c, so there has to be 2 dividers for where a and b have to be, because there's 3 sections right here and here and here. So this part we can say is a, this part's b, this part's c. And the number of ways to order this is 6 factorial over 4 factorial times 2 factorial by letter counting. And these are indistinguishable, the stars and the 2 bars. And that gives 15. So the answer is 15.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So this is a star and bar kind of problem. There's a formula to derive it. Now, what if you don't know? Let's just say you don't know this. You don't know the star, this formula. Then how do you go with it? So yeah, I think anyone else has different way to do this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was, I started with the all possible sums for 4. So one was 4, 0, and 0. And then the ways to arrange them around were 3 factorial over 2 factorial, which is 3. And then another one was 3, 1, and 0. And there were 6 ways to arrange them. And then 2, 1, and 1, 3 ways to arrange them.
Okay,
2,
first one
0.
is 1, 1, 4, 2, 0. That's 3, right?
Mhm.
Okay, don't complicate it. Just 3 because you're picking a 4. Whoever is picking a 4, the rest is 0. Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 possibility, and then what's the second arrangement?
3, 1, 0.
3, 1, 0. Okay.
6 possibilities.
Yep. So how do you get it? You pick 0, right? you pick a 0 and the rest of them can be either 1, 3 or 3, 1.
Mm.
So that's 3 times 2 equals 6.
And then 2, 1, 1. There's 3 possibilities.
Mhm.
And then 2, 2, 0. There's also 3 possibilities. And if we add them up, we get 15.
Yeah. Yeah, so 4, 0, 0, we got 3 because anyone can be 4. And what's the second one? 3, 1, 0. Yeah. So to get this, we pick a 0, right? We pick whoever get a 0, that's 3 possibility. Once you get 0, the rest can be either 1, 3 or 3, 1. They can swap, right? So that's 2. And the third one would be 0, 2, 2, right? Sarah, I forgot what you said, but yeah, we can start from 0, 2, 2. This again, this is we just pick 0, right? All 3 can be 0, so that's 3. And the
2,
next
1, 1.
one would be 1, 1, and 2, right? So basically we pick 2. Whoever is 2, the arrangement is set, right? So this totally is 15. Either way is fine. I think Daniel's way is better because that can, if you have a more complicated situation, what if this is 5 number, 6 number equals 12, 24, it will be easier to apply to it. But just in case you forgot, you should be able to derive it in this way, quickly derive it and get the correct answer. Question? Okay, let's move on. I think we're looking at 103, 105, 108. Okay, 108. Let's give a brief second to read the problem. Okay, if you're ready, you can talk about this. Anyone who hasn't spoken, I would really encourage you to speak up. Okay, 108. Anyone? Oh, by the way, I know some people will leave early, so next week there won't be a meeting. It's the AMC 10 contest, and also next week won't have a homework because the week after would be Thanksgiving holiday, so we won't have meetings in the next 2 weeks, and we'll meet again on November 30th. Okay. And this week's homework will be separate for MC10 contestants. They will need to do the practice problems. That will take 75 minutes. So I don't think I want to overload the contestants with other homework. For other people, pay attention to, I will give about 10 to 15 problems, just focused on the general topic today. That's just some brief announcement. Okay, let's go back to 108. Sylvia, are you raising hand for this one?
Yeah. So to find the average rate, you do distance divided by time, and we know that the average rate is 60. So the total distance would be 20 plus 20, which is 40, over 20 over 50 plus 20 over x, which is the rate for the drive back home, because we don't know that. And then you solve it, and you get 75 miles per hour.
So let me look. Annotate. Where are you? Oh, here. Okay, so if I capture you correctly, so you're saying 20 over 50 plus 20 over x equals 40 over 60. This sounds about right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. So because this is the total distance, this is the total average speed. So this would be the total time of two ways. And we know one-way time is this, and one-way back would be this. This is 20 over the speed of x, what we want to know. Yeah, so this would be a simple solving, basically 4 over 6 minus 2 over 5, and then you inverse them and you can get x, solve x to be 75. That's perfect. Thank you, Sylvia. Question? Okay, last one is 110. So what we got here? All right, this is a probability problem. Quickly read it. Okay, anyone wants to talk about this? Maybe we can give it just a little bit more time, because it might be too long since you did it last time. So let's give another 30 seconds or something. Okay. Hey, Dylan, are you? Okay, go ahead, Dylan.
What is base 10 again?
Sorry, what's that?
What is base 10 again?
I don't get your question, actually.
We're doing 110.
Oh, yeah, we're doing 110, this one. Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
So the circle right here with the ring in it, including this area too, it has a radius of 7. So the area of the circle, this whole circle, is 49 pi. And subtracting the area of this circle, which has a radius of 5, gives the area of the ring. and that's 24 pi. We can find like the probability of finding it, of getting inside this ring, but that's just excess work because they just cancel out in the equation for how many times the probability it lands in the shaded circle. So the area of the circle right here is 9 pi. And we have to find how many times 9 pi gives 24 pi, but that's just 24 over 9, which is 8/3 or 2 2/3.
Mhm. Great. That's exact. So correct. Yeah. Just echo from Daniel. This is basically an area ratio between this inside circle of with a radius of 3 and this ring, and the radius 3 will be just 9. Just ignore the pi because everybody has pi. So this is 9, and this is 7 square minus 5 square. So it's 49 minus 25 is 24, and 24 over 9 is the answer we're looking for. Thank you, Daniel. Question? Okay, if no other question, I think we're done for homework. Good job. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Yeah, I don't think I can remove this for some reason. Oh, I got it. Yeah. Okay. All right, so today we have one topic about function and polynomial. And after this, all the basic topics will be done on my side. Coach Hamali will have probably another couple of geometry sessions, but we're almost done with them. So yeah, after this, we will have probably a lot of practice session, and I might try to, for any problem, I will try to link where the fundamental concept lies in. Function and polynomial. Okay, function, let's start with the basic definition. Function will be like a machine that wherever one variable is input to it, there is one output, and pay attention to one. We don't want to have multiple output for one input to it. So for example, this is a function, and the domain will be everything except 3. It can't be 3. And let's start by doing a problem just to get familiar with it. So f is the abbreviation of function, right? So f of x is basically a machine with a variable of x, and the rest of them will be just algebra. So let's all start with this problem, ABC, and I will, yeah, if you're done, put it in private chat, and the first 3 will get the participation credit. Okay. Okay, if you finish the A, just type in the answer. Okay, I got. Just wait for one more. Okay, now I got a lot of good answers. Okay, where is my sharing button? Trying to find out. Oh, right here. All right. Okay, I got very good answers. Thank you for all to type in. And let's look at A. Okay, it's straightforward, right? F1, you should put 1 in X, and you got negative 1/6. And 1/3, the same thing, you got negative 7/16. And -3, you got negative 9/2. So let me see, I have Derek, Silva, and Avanish. Okay. Yeah, so for B, that's obvious, right? So there is one value, there's no definition, which is when the denominator equal to 0. So X will be -5. So this is we call this a singular point in math, singularity. So the domain of F would be everything except for -5, okay? Now the C, did anyone do the C correctly? All numbers. No? Okay. So we need to do a little bit transformation in order to get C. And if you recall, we actually had a practice of this. So essentially, we want to extract the constant out. And this is what we're doing. So 2x minus 3 over x plus 5, we're just trying to do a practice here. Remember, we want to get 2 out, right? Yeah, maybe I'll just put a few more steps here. Okay, so, oh, it's not annotated. There we go. So we have x plus 5, and we have 2x minus 3. Ah, this is too much trouble. Let me stop sharing for a little bit. Okay. Now, let me put it on the whiteboard. Oh, I hate this. I couldn't see it. What's the numerator? What's the numerator, somebody?
2x minus 3.
Sorry?
2x minus 3.
2x minus 3. And x plus 5, right? Yeah, so clearly we have a 2 in here, right? So we want to get the 2 out of it. So 2, and this will be x plus 5, right? So in this case, 2x become 2x plus 10. So we want to minus 10, right? We want to minus 10 because we added 10 to it for no good reason. Actually, we do have a good reason, but we added 10. We want to minus 10. And then we have a minus 3 in here originally. So this is what we are trying to do. And the first item will be 2, right? You can just say x plus 5, 2x plus 5 minus 13 over x plus 5. Okay, so this would be, oh, this is not very clear. Well, not much we can help. And this becomes 2, and this becomes 13 over x plus 5. This is how we get it. So this thing can be everything, but this thing cannot be what? 13 over x plus 5 cannot be what value?
0.
0. That's exactly right. You can get it. You can make this equal to everything, but except for 0. So the domain, or let's say the range of this function is everything but help me out. This function.
-5.
Sorry?
-5.
No. We just said this thing can be anything but 0. Then what about this thing?
2.
2. Right? This function can be everything except for 2. All right. You want to try to solve this equals to 2. What would you get? So this is going to be, I'll change different color. So let's solve it. So this 2x plus 10 equals 2x minus 3. We cancel out 2x, 10 minus 10 equals minus 3. So there's no solution for it, right? This is what we are, the answer we're looking. Let's go back to the screen. They have a few simple steps in here. It basically transformed this function into this form. And note that this part cannot be 0. Therefore, the whole function cannot be 2. Okay? And if we want to plot it, we can. Okay. Have you learned the plotting the basic function like line and inverse line? Uh, 13, right? So if you want to plot it, it would be something like this. Quickly stop just a little bit. Okay. So if this is y and this is x, so 1 over x would be something like this, right? No? When x is bigger, the y is smaller, approaching to 0, right? When x is really small, it's approaching to infinite. And when x is negative, it's the same thing, okay? Now, when you do x plus 5, 1 over x plus 5, that means just you shift this whole thing to the left, right? So it's going to be something like this. I just want to move the y axis. So it's going to be something like this. Okay. So now when x is equals -5, it becomes x, 1 over x type of thing. Now, and then this whole thing will be negative. So it doesn't matter. It just kind of, let's see, what we can do is, yeah, the key thing is we have to move it up because we have a 2 in here, right? So this whole thing goes up a little bit. So this line becomes y equals to 2. And this will be the new x axis. So this is y equals to 2, right? If you just want to see this, this is the plot you're kind of looking at. So the y can be anything, but it can never be 2. So it's just going to be, when x is quite small, it will be approaching to 2. And this is when x is equal to -5. Okay, so this is just how the plot look like. Okay, you don't have to know this. It's just some extra things, and I like to visualize that. Okay. So should we move on? Any more questions on this one? Okay. Yeah, you can call it critical point. That's okay. Now let's do one more. And this will be a quick question. You can just tell me verbally. Is this a function? The variable will be a, b, c, and the expression is basically quadratic solution. So is this a function? Anyone?
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody said yes.
Yes, that was me, Dylan, from Team 3.
Any more question, Daniel?
I think it's no, because each input can't have more than one output in a function.
Exactly. Remember, I showed you here, any one variable input to it, there is one output. This is the definition of the function. And for this one, when you have one variable or one set of variable, you have plus minus. So that's more than one output. So it's not really a function. Just to let you know, not everything of what do you call this, matching or I don't know what's a good word, but when you go to college, there's any system, there are a lot of system, right? Some system is not a function because it can be random. The output can be random when you have an input to it. So those are not stable transfer function, and we don't even call it a function. Now, what about this one? So you have fx is 3x plus 2, gx is 2x minus 9. Now px is fx times gx. Is this a function? You just tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a function. Yeah, because any x you put in there, you have one unique fx output to it. Okay. All right, let's say let's do one more practice. If you've done A, type in your answer in the chat window to me. Okay, we'll just wait for a couple more. Okay, perfect. I got a bunch more. Let's see. I have Daniel, Sylvia, and Chloe. Okay. Yeah, so let's do B as well. Okay. And wait for one more correct answer of B. Okay, that's it. So I have Sarah, Sylvia, and Chloe. All right. Okay. Yeah, let's give a look. So for A is quite straightforward. You just add them together. Got 13. For B, you want to find A if 3A5, right? 3A5. So you put 3 in the place of A and A in the place of B. So this is trying to confuse you. They use AB in here, but then A in here. A is actually the B. So that's 3A minus 4, 3, 5, right? So this is 15. Therefore, A equals 23. Okay, I got a lot of good answers. Any question? One more glance on the B. Remember, ABC is the 3 variable. This ABC in the same order of 3A5. So A is actually 3, C is 5, and B is A here. So don't be tricked. All right, I think this is pretty straightforward, and I think we have one more problem to go. All right, let's look at this one. Okay, let's start. Oh. Okay, we'll cut here. So I do get some correct answer. Dylan, let's see. Chloe, Dylan. That's it. Okay, yeah. So it's quite obvious for 8, right? So fx, if you want to be a square root of x, x has to be greater or equal to 0. Okay, let's look at b. Anybody has b?
May I answer B?
I'm sorry, what's that?
May I answer B?
I want to give just maybe a few more seconds. I want to get a few more answers. So hopefully you still remember the inequality we covered last time. Not exactly last time, but 2 weeks ago. I know 2 weeks is a very tricky time duration. This is a time that if you still remember, and you'll remember for a long time. If you forget, you need to refresh it. Okay, I do have a few. I have Manit and Sarah. And a lot of them are giving me only a partial answer. Okay, let's stop here. Looks like a Manit is the only one. Got it right. Okay, Daniel, go ahead. You can start.
Or I wasn't raising my hand.
Oh. Somebody just said he wants to go over it. Who is that?
It was me, Monet.
Oh, Manit, go ahead.
So first for B, I plugged it. So the critical value has to be 6. So because 0 is the least value, it can be square rooted. So x has, so x squared minus x has to equal 6.
So this thing inside the root square root, it has to be greater or equal to 0.
Yeah. So x squared minus x has to be 6. Or greater than 6.
Greater or equal than 6, yes.
Right. So then you would just basically do guess and check until you find the least possible value that equals 6. So like x is equal to 2.
Mhm.
Or I meant x is equal to 3. So x has to be greater than or equal to 3. And then you would look at the negative one. So there's x is less than or equal to negative 2. If you try that, that also works.
Okay. Okay, I just want to give you guys a refreshment on this. So x squared minus x minus 6 greater equal than 0. Okay. How do we solve this? We know we can solve the equation by this inequality, right? We can check this is x minus 3 plus x plus 2. Why? Because we're looking for -1, and this is happen to be -3 times 2, right? Next to 3 times 2 is -6, and -3 plus 2 is -1. So this is what we got. right? So this has to be greater than equal than 0. And we have two roots. One is 3, one is -2. And this is what, for the inequality, greater than 0, we have to be greater than the larger root or less than the smaller root, right? So this is the answer. And I want to go back to where we were. And hopefully I can still have this inequality. We covered 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we should. Yeah, as I said, this is really the time to revisit. Sorry, not share. Present. Okay. I'm sharing this. This is look familiar at least. And even the example, we're using the same one. So in general, right, we want to make sure the coefficient of x squared is a positive, all right? And this is what we have for this problem. And the solution would be, or to say the range would be x greater or equal than the smaller, the larger root, and or less than a smaller root. And we also cover the case when x1 equals x2. And in that case, everything is possible. X can be anything, right? Now, also, if it's less than 0, there has to be a range in between the two roots, okay? So this is a basics. We can't afford forgetting them, all right? Let's go back to here. Yeah. Okay. So the correct answer is x is greater or equal than 3 or less or equal than -2. Okay. So continue work on C and D. It should be straightforward now. Okay, can somebody tell me C, because we already know A and B. What about C? Sarah, go ahead.
Since Sx is equal to fx and gx, then they have to have the and fx is x is greater than or equal to 0, and gx is x is greater than or equal to 3, or the x is less than or equal to -2. Then we have to pick the inequality that fits both of them, since they're fx and gx, which is x is greater than or equal to 3.
Yep, that's exactly right. Everybody agree? Okay, let's move on to D. Sylvia, are you raising hand? Anyone else who hasn't really spoken? Okay, anyone What's the difference between D and C? In terms of domain.
But is it okay if I do it?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so f of x over g of x is root x over square root of x bar minus x minus 6. And for the numerator to be satisfied, x has to be greater than equal to 0. For the denominator to be satisfied, x has to be greater than or equal to 3, or x has to be less than or equal to -2. But the denominator can't equal 0 because that would make it undefined. So x can't be 3 or -2. But it has to satisfy x is greater than equal to 0 and x is greater than equal to 3, or x is less than or equal to -2. So x has to be greater than or equal to 3, but it can't be 3, so it's x is greater than 3.
Perfect. So between D and C, the only difference is you cannot be 3. So here's the all the answers we have. As Sarah mentioned, the x is greater or equal than 3 in C, but in D, because G is in the denominator, so it can't be equal to 3. It has to be greater than 3. Okay. I think that's pretty good practice. Let's move on. I think we still have a few things I want to cover. Now, function composition. So you will see this a lot when one function or the other function, one function is the output of another function. Sorry, input of one function is the output of another function. For example, fx is this, gx is this, and if I want you to find fgx, then the fx is trying to do 2 whatever input minus 6. Now this input becomes gx. So for f, it's 2 times gx minus 6, right? And the gx is 3 input minus 9. So 2, 3x minus 9 equals 6x minus 24. Okay, it's just the composition. You always remember what this function is doing and what is their input variable. Okay, if no question, let's move on to this next one. It's asking a question here, but you have to know what f parenthesis fx is. Okay, let's give a couple minutes for that. And if you're ready, you can type in the answer. Okay, I've got one. I got 2. Let's try one more. Okay. Daniel, since you are the first one who got it right, do you want to?
No, I'll just, yeah, I can do it. F of x is f of 3x plus 10, because you can substitute this f of x into the inside, and that should be equal to x. So that means that using 3x plus 10 for x into this function gives 3 times 3x plus 10 plus 10 is equal to, this is equal to 9x plus 30 plus 10, which is 9x plus 40. And that has to be equal to x because f of x is equal to x. So solving this gives x equals -5.
That's perfect. Did everybody follow? Actually, I have the answer right here. It's exactly the same as Daniel's. Okay. Quick look. All right. So all good. Yeah, some people put the wrong answer, but probably somewhere messed up the calculation. All right. Okay, inverse function. Now this is definition. Okay, so if g of fx equals to x for all values, and fg is equal to x for all values of x in the domain of g, and f is the inverse function of g, and g is the inverse function of f. Okay, it's a little bit how to say confusing this way, but let's just solve this. Let's solve this guy. We often use the inverse of f as f inverse, so -1 in here. So can we try to find what f -1 is? I'd like to give the answer here because if you look at y equals 3x minus 2, then you can put x, you solve x equals y plus 2 over 3. Therefore, the inverse function here is actually x plus 2 over 3. Okay, so this is how you kind of solve what the inverse function is. Does this make sense? I think this is better than the definition here. From definition, it's a very accurate description, but it won't help you solve it. So in this way, if you want to, if somebody wants you to find 3x minus 2, what's the inverse function of that? This is how you find it. Okay. Everybody followed? What's your question, Avanish?
I don't understand how the inverse operation works.
Do you understand this part?
Oh, sorry, I was lagging. I didn't see that you added it.
Did you now? Can you read it?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, this is exactly how you solve inverse. So you find what's the relation between x in terms of y, and then this y become your variable, right? We just, we tend to use x as a variable. Therefore, the new inverse function would be whatever you have, whatever expression you have in terms of y, just change it to x. Okay. Let's do one problem here. Go ahead. Yeah, this one doesn't really require a lot of calculation. It's more like concept testing. So anybody ready to speak up? It should be pretty soon. Now, first question, does f have an inverse when all the real numbers here? For all the real numbers in domain, does f have an inverse? Now remember, what does you mean by not having inverse? At what situation a function does not exist? We just cover that, right? Okay, I got one answer. And you will be ready to tell me why. And I want to wait a little bit more actually, because I want to see if people are following. Okay, I got two. I want to see more. Okay, we kind of run out of time. So Chloe, why don't you tell us the answer of A?
It's no, because it's not a function. Like x can be positive or negative, so.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I don't know if you guys remember what we talked about. So if x squared equals to y, what's the solution for x? Of course, y is greater or equal than 0, right? What's the solution? Can somebody tell me without even thinking? That's not good. That's not good. All right. So let me write it here. Okay, now I want you to memorize this. Okay. Not square root plus minus y, but plus minus square root y. Okay. You should write this without even thinking. Okay, just memorize. There's no other trick. Okay. Now, because we said x's can be all real numbers, so we have two solutions. And the inverse, remember the inverse would be, we already know the expression of y, right? So what's the inverse? If there exists. Chloe, help me out. No? We don't do anything, right? We just put y in x, put x at the position of y. Because this is how we get inverse. And this is not a function. We have 1x and 2 output. Okay. Now, Now let's look at B. Okay. What about B? Sylvia, do you know the answer of B? No? Chloe, what about the B? Okay, I realize this is probably the exhausting moment. It's probably too much. Okay, let me, just based on this, right? Now we're still here, right? We're trying to find inverse of H, and this is my H, okay? Now I'm still doing this, x equals plus minus square root of y. But this time, look, the domain of H is non-negative numbers. Unlike the first one, it's all real number. Now it's all non-negative. Therefore, I will not have this negative sign anymore, right? So it's gonna be just square root of y. Therefore, the inverse would be just the square root of x. There's no plus minus. So, do we have inverse?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this doesn't ask a lot. It just asks the basic definition of function. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop right here. These parts I'll put down online and take a look, please. It's supposed to be straightforward. Did you guys see my writing annotation, by the way?
I think I just saw that appear.
Oh,
Same.
oh, it's too bad. That's why everybody is silent. I think I hit the button of pause sharing because I was trying to peek through how many more pages I have, and I didn't put it back. So yeah, without good visualization, it's hard to follow. But just to, the thing is, we have some brief notes here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so for A, y is x squared, x is plus minus square root y, okay? If inverse exists, it would be plus minus square root x, and it's not a function. But now in B, as is not, x is not negative, so x is just square root of y. So the inverse would be just square root of x, okay? All right. Okay, just to repeat, no meetings next week, no meetings next 2 weeks. And AMC 10 contestant will have just the homework of practice competition. And please send me a score page in the end, screenshot. And the rest of people will just have a normal homework, target maybe 10, 15 problems, not the math count handbook, but just some specific for today's material. Questions? If not, you can feel free to dismiss.
Thank you.
Is there any
Bye.
question?
I have one.
Okay,
For
go
the
ahead.
for the second week, do we have homework?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nothing after today's. Okay,
Okay, thank you. Bye.
bye.
Bye, thank you.
You're welcome. How do I stop the recording? Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on.